बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। नूर मौलाना शाह रहीम अल हुसैनी हाजरीमान। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। या मौला मेहरबान, या मुश्किल कुशा, मदद फरमा, मदद फरमा। या अली मदद to all friends. Ya Ali Madad. Today we will continue with our discussion of Farman, which is of Zanzibar. Oops, maafi, I should. All right, let me do that. So this is, oh, it doesn't show the Farman. Farman number 45, Zanzibar, September 13th, 1899. And the paragraph we are going to discuss is from here. We had finished from here. Let us recite the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadi wa ali Muhammad. મોમિનનું વેપાર છે તે પણ મોમિનની ઇબાદત છે. Whatever Momin does, all businesses, work, job, whatever they do, it is actually their ibadat. મોમિન રાતની વડે સૂવે છે ત્યારે વિચાર કરે છે કે હું વહેલો ઉઠીને સારા કામ કરીશ. Momin, when goes to bed, he makes an intention that I will wake up early and I will do good deeds. મોમિન આવા સારા ખ્યાલ કરીને સૂવે છે ત્યારે તેનું સૂવું પણ ઇબાદતમાં લેખાય છે. When a momin thinks like that, sleeps with intention, then his sleep is also counted as good deed. His sleep is also counted as good deed, as ibadat. So in other words, what we are seeing, what Imam is guiding us, that his work, Momin's work is ibadat, Momin's sleep is ibadat. So what other time is left? Normally we would think that when we are working or when we are sleeping, we are not remembering Imam, we are not doing ibadat. Imam in his Farman is guiding that if one is a Momin, his work is ibadat and his sleep is also ibadat. Why? Because the way they make intentions, they think of doing good deeds, it is all ibadat. જે નાદાન ગાફિલ હશે તેનું સૂવું પણ ગુનાહમાં લેખાશે. Now those who are ignorant and when they sleep, their sleep is counted as sin. Now, this is to think, really, we need to reflect that those who do not make intention, do not do any zikr, and they just live life thinking they are good people because they are going to Jamaat Khana, or they are paying the sond, or doing charity. But if they are not setting an intention before going to bed that I will wake up early in the morning and I will do good deeds, meaning they check their pulse that if I've done anything wrong, I should not repeat and I will do good deeds in the morning. That way of thinking, setting an intention, is counted as good deed, as opposed to that, those who do not make intention, their sleep is counted as sinning. Can you imagine? Namayama. And someone would say, oh, I didn't lie or cheat or deceive anybody. I was just resting. But because Gafil, ignorant, does not have knowledge, does not utilize, this knowledge to realize and to earn this world we have come to earn. They don't realize the importance of intention. Their sleep is counted as sinning as well. એવો ગાફિલ સુતી વખતે વિચાર કરે છે કે રૂપિયા ઇકઠ્ઠા કરું. Now Imam is going into detail telling us about those who are ignorant. What are their characteristics? Right? What are their characteristics? And the first characteristic Imam is giving is that their thoughts are that they want to earn more money. Their mind, their thought is always revolving around worldly progress. How do I make more money? How do I become rich? They are constantly thinking of money, finances. That is one of their characteristics. And then another characteristic Imam gives, औरत बुढ़ी છે તેને કાઢી મૂકી બીજી જવાન પરણી. Now, this another characteristic is related to, marital relationship, that the wife is now old. So his thoughts are about young women, thinking of leaving the old, age wife and thinking of marrying a young woman. In other words, it is all about following the carnal soul. But Imam specifically is giving different characteristics. Moti Haveliu Bandhaun. I should have mentioned, oh, this house is small. I need to buy a bigger home. Gamma Ijjat Vadharu. I should become famous. I should, be known. People should come to me for advice. And I should be known for my money or my property or whatever I have. Due to what I have, people would respect me. And that's the desire, right? And Gamma Moto Manas Ganam. Due to this desire of name and fame, the thinking is that I should be seen as somebody who holds a status, a name, fame, due to whatever reasons, property and whatever. ગામમાં ઇજ્જત વધારું, ગામમાં મોટો માણસ ગણાઉં અને સર્વે લોકો મારી સલાહ લેવા આવે. Not only that I am seen as, rich or resourceful or, having lots of property, because Imam says mention, people should come to me for advice. People should seek me for advice, meaning all the thoughts of carnal soul. It's all about me, mine, and my things and my status and all about me, me, me. એવી રીતે બીજા પણ અનેક ખ્યાલ કરે છે. And this is how this, sinner thinks about things all related to nourishing the carnal soul, animal soul. Because there is no good thought. It's all about fulfilling the desires. આવી રીતે ખ્યાલ કરીને સૂવે છે તેનું સૂવું પણ ગુનાહમાં લેખાય છે. Thoughts like this: today I earned this much in the business, I lost this much and I have to do this much, I have to kick this employee out and I have to do that, I need to do that. All these thoughts are worldly. Before sleeping, his mind is planning how to become richer, powerful, resourceful uh, in the world, getting name and fame. His thoughts are all related to these things. No worry about soul, no thoughts about soul, no intention that I would wake up early to sit in bandagi or ibadat. So remember earlier I mentioned, I gave the example of going to Jamaat Khana. So there are darjat in that way too, right? But here Imam is actually teaching us that when we talk about this carnal soul, we may think of sinning in the form of, cheating, lying, deceit, or, not remembering him. But realize that when we go to bed, and the way Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah has given us Farman about pulse check, that every night we have to check our pulse and set an intention. First, assess ourselves, what did we do? And then how are we going to live tomorrow? In what means and ways we are going to do better than yesterday, better than today, right? Tonight we are going to assess. So those who do not do that, first Imam says they are sinners, simply because they are not intending to do better. And then Imam goes into detail telling us that how these kind of people who do not set intention to do good, why do they not think of doing good? Why don't they think of, doing ibadat or remembering or doing zikr? Because their mind is filled with these thoughts of becoming more resourceful, powerful, more property, more money, more this and more that. So people respect me and people come to me and, I am everything. And Imam says that people like that, they are sinners. Then Imam continues to guide us and says, હવે જુઓ કે સારા અને નરસા વચ્ચે શું ફરક છે. Imagine Imam's mercy going into such detail. And we know that Jamaat was not educated at that time. So we really get benefit due to that time, because Jamaat did not have education, Imam going such detail to teach us. So today we benefit from the detailed teaching, right? Maulana Shah Karim's Farman were not in that much detail, but Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's Farman in great detail, right? So he's saying now that let me tell you the difference between good and bad, right? તમે એવી રીતે સુવો કે તમારું સુવું પણ બંદગીના હિસાબમાં લેખાય. Imam is teaching us this secret that the way you go to sleep, you should make an intention. So all your sleep hours, 6 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever time you're resting, sleeping, let it be counted in your good deeds. What an easy way to earn good deeds. Let the angels write good deeds in our book of deeds, right? So Imam is teaching, let me teach you. And then he says that make an intention before going to bed. And that's how your sleep will be counted as your ibadat. દુઆ પઢો તેમાં દિલ લગાડો તો સારું, પણ દુઆ પढ़વા બેસો અને દિલમાં ખોટા ખ્યાલ રાખો તો શું ફાયદો થાય? Again, it is about focus, about concentration. That when we recite our dua, we are not just doing lip service, whatever, we have memorized and it comes out of our tongue. Mullah says, don't do that. When you say dua, you need to pay attention to what you are asking, what you are saying. And in today's time, we are very blessed because on Sunday, global lectures, Dr. Sahib and Rajida Sahiba are doing such detailed, teaching of the topics of dua. Great detail, every word, every sentence is, elaborated in such detail that all the meanings are given to us. It is up to us to listen to those lectures, make our notes and understand what am I saying, what am I asking from my Imam when I'm saying my dua, because that is Farman Bardari. Imam is saying when you say dua, if your dhyan is not in dua, then what is the benefit? And then Imam further guides us that when you say your dua, but your thoughts are, not on Khuda. Your thoughts are, going to your work or your home or somewhere else. Then what is the benefit? The body is following the ritual, the tongue is saying the words, but the soul is not connected. The mind, the intellect is not connected. What is the benefit then? So Mola guides us that if we seek benefit, we have to make an intention before going to bed. And then when we say our dua, we need to concentrate on our dua. औरत મોટી થઈ તેના બચ્ચા તેના ઘરમાં નાનપણથી તેના સાથે હોય હવે તે ખ્યાલ કરે કે નાની औरत સારી જોઈને પરણું મોટી औरતના હક સામે નજર ના કરું તેને કાંઈ પણ ના આપવું તો એવા ખ્યાલ કરનાર માણસ કૂતરો છે બલકે કૂતરા કરતા વધારે ખરાબ છે. Now again, Maula Papa is going into the social institution of marriage. And he's talking about that if you have been married, right, for years and you have had children, and now at, when she is aged, you want to leave her and you are thinking of marrying a younger woman. These thoughts are as if, of a person who behaves like a dog, right, in gratification, following the desires of the carnal soul. Imam says even he's worse than that. So in earlier Imam also talked about, marriage, so social institution. He talked about sins of the carnal souls, thoughts of the carnal soul, and again he emphasizes. So I thought that we need to talk about it. We all understand carnal soul. Nowadays, due to, all the ilmi lectures going on, and those who pay attention, we now know the words and we can speak the vocabulary, the words. But there is much more to understand. And yes, this is ilmi majlis, but today I am going to take a different route and talk about these things just because it is a taboo and we don't talk about it. And I'm going to cover a few of the points because over the period of years, Nachis has been doing that, and there are very many Jama'ati members, men and women, have come forward to talk about this social institution, which is marriage, this social contract when we get married, we make, right? And today in this Farman, Imam is talking about it. And yes, the example here is given of a man whose thoughts are about leaving older woman, not giving the her hak, and marrying the young woman, and thinking of, the carnal desire. So we will talk about that. આપણો દીન ઇસ્માઇલી માં વાજબ નથી કે બુઢી औरतનું ત્યાગ કરીને બીજી બાયડી કરે. Again, Imam is emphasizing that this is not Ismaili tariqa. Now, think about it. We thought Ismaili tariqa is a religion. It is a faith. How is it related to who do we marry? What is the age of the woman? Well, how is it related? But Imam is teaching us and saying, guiding us, that આપણા દીન ઇસ્માઇલીમાં વાજબ નથી કે બુઢી औरतનું ત્યાગ કરીને બીજી બાયડી કરે. Leave the older woman and marry a young woman. મોટીને કાઢી મૂકે ને તેના હક ના આપે એ ઘણો ખરાબ છે. Leaving the older woman and marrying young one, it is really, really bad. Imam is saying that. And then think about the flow of the Farman, the connection. Then Imam says, પીર સદદીને જ્યારે સારા ખયાલ તથા સારા કામ કર્યા હતા ત્યારે એવા મર્તબા ઉપર પહોંચ્યા છે. Talking about getting married to whom, and then talking about our peer. Whenever we talk of our peer, we talk of Ginan, we talk of, dua, bandagi, the song, good deeds. But we never talk about who do we marry in relation to our peer. But look at Imam's Farman. And Imam is teaching us that we who are the followers, Pir Sadruddin. We are Pir Sadruddin's Jamaat. Imam is teaching us, reminding us that Pir Sadruddin used to always have good thoughts, always did good deeds. Due to that, he elevated in his ranks. Tell me now, are we all gathered here to this one desire that I want to learn and have spiritual progress, want to elevate my ranks? All of you would agree with me. That's why we're here, because we have understood. In order to elevate in our ranks, we need knowledge and we need to, do ibadat bandagi, and we need to learn how do we earn good deeds. In this Farman, Imam, from the paragraph we are reading, Imam has been teaching us how to earn good deeds, but mostly talking about marriage. And then teaching us that if you respect, believe in your Pir Sadruddin, that he elevated and reached to the rank of the Pir, Hujjat, it was due to his good thoughts and his good deeds. And then guidance is, Tame par evaj sara amal karo. You also do good deeds. What are those good deeds? Apna deen Ismaili ma wajib nathi. He's teaching us that in our Ismaili deen, these kind of thoughts, this kind of behavior is not acceptable. So I'm going to stop here and to totally go out of the way to talk about something which is needed to be talked about. However, I would like us to stay in the framework that it is a ilmi majlis and we are discussing Farman. We do not want to go to different directions. But we have to talk about this to break the walls and at least start reflecting. Sincere, accountable, individual reflection to realize how we are following the carnal soul. So let me show my slides. So I called it Pulse Check in Today's Time. Why today's time? Of course, this presentation is inspired by this Farman. And today's time is different because in this Farman, we kind of heard it is all about men, men, men. But today, that is not the reality. It is both men and women. And it is, again, as I said, it's a taboo and we need to talk about it. So I humbly going to take this challenge and talk about it. That this paragraph, those who joined late, this was the first paragraph we studied, that Mawla guides us that if a Mu'min is doing business, his business is actually ibadat. Mu'min, when he goes to bed, he thinks of waking up early and doing good deeds. His sleep is also ibadat. So we started with this discussion that, normally as Mu'mins, we think all the time, I want to do good deeds and I want to be pleasing Imam. When do I not remember Imam? When I'm busy with the work, I forget my job. I forget my remembrance because I'm working and my mind is involved there. Because that's a common question which we get, right? And when I'm sleeping, in this Farman, Imam teaches us that Mu'min's ibadat, Mu'min's work and Mu'min's sleep is both ibadat. Condition is that Mu'min has to be Mu'min. And then Imam says that in opposed to those who are not Mu'min, meaning those who are ignorant, those who are ghafil, their thoughts are such that they want to earn more money, they want to marry a younger woman, and they do not want to give, the rights of the older woman who's been married with them and had children from them. And then, Moti have built mansions. Everybody should respect me. I become somebody known, powerful, resourceful. Everybody comes to me for guidance. These kind of thoughts he does and he goes to bed. And then Imam gives us guidance that a person who thinks like that, his sleep is written as of sinning. Remember, we thought sinning is cheat, deceit, spiritual diseases. This is sleep. A moment sleeps, an ignorant sleeps. And imagine the difference. A moment earns, earning. Ignorant earns sin. So, we have to understand that Imam has gone into detail to teach us about carnal soul. But again, then later in the paragraph, Imam focuses on marriage. So for a long time, this Farman is almost 126 years old, Farman. So at that time, probably the conversation was about broken marriages was surrounding men leaving, their older wives, pursuing someone younger, or chasing after their desires outside their commitment. This is what we can see with Imam's guidance. But we need to be seeing things in today's time, because today's time, it is no longer the truth. It has changed. Women are also walking away from marriages, many at times for different reasons. For example, from, lack of being heard, just not being heard, or valued, or not given independence, or due to unfulfilled emotional needs, or simply seeking something more, which they are not getting in their, marriage. All this discussion we are going to do today, it's not to blame anybody, but actually to simply reflect. Everybody, each one of us, will be able to apply and reflect from these Farman to learn how to not, continuously increase in our sins. Because if we are not mindful, we are increasing our sins, because we are following the carnal soul. And we think, that we are doing good. When we don't have this, the way Imam's Farmans, his words are, and if we don't reflect, we may not realize the deeper meaning Imam is giving us. So we have to realize that the shift which is happening after 126 years, when this Farman was given in Zanzibar, today, things have changed, right? There's a shift. And we need to understand that how we are understanding love, desire, responsibility, and self. These are important concepts, paradigms, realities, which we really need to reflect. So I want to start by saying that I recognize that this is not easy to talk about, but it affects many lives, even though many of us often avoid talking about it. There are quite struggles within marriages, the unmet expectations, and the choices people are making that reflect deeper shifts in our values. There is this phrase, religion is used or practiced as pacifier. I hope you have heard that religion is used as pacifier. The idea behind this phrase is to be, the reason to bring this into our discussion here today is that in many cases, religion is not lived, but it is used. And there is a difference. How? Let me first give you another phrase, which is opium of people. Religion is seen as opium of people. Have you heard of that? There are books written about these concepts. Why opium? Because when we follow religion to use it, we numb ourselves to the reality. We numb ourselves to the reality of what is going on in our life. The question is, if religion is not a pacifier, if religion is not an opium, so what is it? In reality, religion is a guide for deep transformation. Religion is a guide for deep transformation. And that's why Imam gives us example of Pir Sadruddin. Tells us this is in Ismaili Mazhab, we don't do that. People use religion as a comfort tool. And when I say people, we are not talking about others, actually us, we who are here, who will listen to this lecture, because we are going to reflect about ourselves. We're not going to talk about others. What am I doing, right? So religion is used as a comfort tool. a moral decoration, or worse, a justification for actions already decided by the ego. Religion is used as emotional soothing, not for spiritual awakening. Instead of confronting the nafs, the carnal soul, we have to confront our nafs. We use religious language to feel better about our choices. Like a pacifier in a child's mouth, it stops the crying but does not solve the need. We perform religion to meet the needs of the ego. What did I say? We perform religion to meet the needs of the ego. And when we do that, it is called performative faith. We are performing the faith. The way Imam said, when you say dua, but if your dhyan is not in dua, but we are performing dua, we are in Jama'at Khana, properly raising our hands, going in sajda. What did Imam say? There is no benefit in that kind of dua. We perform faith. And then this another extract from the same Farman above. In the last class we had discussed. Same Farman of September 13, 1899. તમારો મઝહબ ઘણો કઠણ તથા મુશ્કેલ છે. જમાતખાનામાં હંમેશા દુઆ પढ़વા આવવું એ મુશ્કેલ નથી. એ સહેલું તથા આસાન કામ છે. To come to Jamaat Khana to say dua, it is not difficult. Actually, it is easy, Imam says. Why? Because when we go to Jamaat Khana, we are performing. It's a performative faith. And it is very dangerous. Why? It is dangerous because religion becomes an identity badge, rather than a journey inward. Immediately we call Mubin. Oh, Subah Sham Jamaat Khana aata hai. Right? It is the way it's, I said it's a badge, it's a title, or it's something we are wearing to show off that, oh, I'm regular. But what about the real religion? Meaning the way we have to live according to the Farmans of Imam, that asks us to take a journey inward. Do we do that? When we perform the religion, and I said it is a dangerous, what happens, we numb the conscious. The consciousness is numb. It is just performing. Instead of religion awakening us to our own faults or shortcomings, it is repurposed to lull us, to numb us, to become self-righteous. And especially in example of marriage, because Imam talked about it, a sacred covenant, right? It's a sacred covenant. In that relationship, ego starts to rule. And religion is only in the background. It's a background noise. And we begin to destroy what was meant to be divine. Why? Because we take religion to perform only. Religion was meant to be fire that refines the soul, not a pacifier that soothes the ego. So realize that in today's world, it is easy to quote a verse or wear a symbol, but very hard to sit with the discipline, the sacrifice, the surrender it actually asks of us. So many of us use religion to justify what we have already decided to do. But true faith, Deen-e-Haq, does not follow the nafs. It challenges it. It teaches us to stay, to grow, to forgive, to sacrifice, not to run away when things get hard, when things get uncomfortable. So these are very hard realities which we really need to face, because it's all about confronting our own nafs. So what do? We need to return seriously. We really need to become serious. We need to return to inner work, not just outer ritual. The greatest jihad against is our ego. Our Prophet has taught us, right, that we have to fight our ego. Nafs se ladna hai. We need to encourage ourselves to move beyond surface level religion. You know, when we stay at the surface level, we are performing religion. Instead of that, we need to engage in tazkiyah and nafs, self-purification. We truly have to make space for real introspection. We need to ask, if we are talking about marriage as an institution, we need to ask, why do I want to leave? What am I really seeking? Am I running from growth or towards it? Because everything in this world comes to us for us to learn and grow. Believe it or not, that's the reality. In my limited learning, that's the reality. What am I seeking? Am I running away from the growth or towards it? Remember, the ego wants comfort. The soul seeks the truth. That's a difference, very big difference. We need to rekindle the concept of sacred commitment. We have to teach ourselves and remind that marriage is not just a legal contract, it's a spiritual covenant. If we understand it, it's a spiritual covenant. It is not a transaction, but a path to transformation. We do need to realize that in this institution, what do we think? Like a person who thinks, what do I get from this? Versus somebody says, who do I become? These are all reflective questions. And we need to bring back the idea of sabr, rahmat, tawakkul in our family, in our lives, in our relationships. Remember what Imam said? Our sleep, our business is also Momin's earning. So why would our relationships are not? Why would they be outside our deen? So we need to have the concept of sabr, rahmat, and tawakkul in this institution as well. Replace instant gratification with long-term vision. What am I wanting from my life? Am I building my life around convenience or character? Remember character. Imam was talking about character in his Farman. What are our thoughts? Today, many individuals are choosing, our young ones are choosing not to marry. Why? Because they don't believe in love, because there is, this realization that there is so much growth which is needed. Marriage isn't just about butterflies and romantic, fluff which we see in Hollywood or Bollywood movies. It is much more than that. And when you realize that kind of bond which demands hard work, patience, and deep commitment, people are moving away from it. Yet we use the same level of energy in our work, in our businesses. We are willing to grow, learn, continue education, do everything which is needed. But when it comes to pouring into our relationship, people are moving away. So it has initiated another cycle of loneliness, emptiness, and a sense of unfulfillment in our young Jama'at. Impatience has become norm nowadays. Because of convenience, we have become very impatient because there's no hard work needed to do anything. The modern life has made everything very convenient. So relationship should be also convenient. You would rather have a pet, talk to the pet, take care of a pet, than live with another human being. That is a reality in today's time. So building something real takes discipline, maturity, and emotional sobriety. And remember that when we want to learn about religion, we have to understand that we have to rebuild our faith as fire, not pacifier. Not pacifier. It is very important for us to invite ourselves, each one of us, to see religion as a mirror, as a path, not just soothing lullaby. Real spirituality, hakiki ruhaniyat, hakiki ilm should break the ego, not decorate it. You know? It should make us accountable first to Imam and then to those who we have committed. So prayer without presence, or learning knowledge or verses of Ginan or Quran without action, it is like watering a dead plant. Remember Maulana Shah Karim's Farman? That there is no dichotomy. There is no dichotomy between deen and dunya. And for that, we need to have open dialogue about expectations in relationships, disappointments, healing, and about ego as well. Because ego affects all parts of our lives. And when we, in our ilmi majlis, we talk about carnal soul and only think of ibadat, dua, being able to focus. But if our family members are not happy with us, or we are not, present in our relations, in our committed relations, then how can we be committed to Imam? How can we become Farman Bardar? Remember, we are studying Farman. This is all given in Farman. I'm just adding more words so we can reflect. Because religion should be for us a mirror. All these dialogues needs to be done without shame, without blame. And we have to learn the power of forgiveness. Because otherwise, what is the benefit of the words if we don't put things into action? And we need to learn and teach what real love actually is. It is not what we see in media. The real love is divine-centered love. Love that leads you closer to God. It is not a distraction. It is a mercy. True love is selfless, rooted in service, honesty, and compassion. It is not about always feeling good. It is about doing good, even when it is hard. Remember that we are reflecting on Farman. And it was about marriage. So I thought that we should discuss some difficult points. We should bring it up. But this is like opening up a Pandora box. And we are not supposed to do that here. Why? Because these are hard questions. And every individual is different. Every situation is different. So please know that every marriage cannot or must not last. Do know that this is also the truth, that every marriage is not supposed to last. But many are ending without being given a real chance to grow. Our Jama'at is challenged, actually, due to many factors, many variables, beginning from migration from different culture to different culture. So there's a mix of cultural values compounded by unwillingness to learn and grow. One culture teaches us no matter what, you don't call it a quit. even if there is abuse or one becomes a doormat. Other culture teaches, give up fast. There is no need to tolerate. Quit when it gets hard. And it's your right. And you should be happy. What is happiness? It's a state of mind. We have to find balance because we do live in different culture. We probably grew up in different thoughts, different culture, living in different culture. Our children are totally in different culture. Their thoughts are not matching with ours. So remember, these are very difficult questions. But we do need to talk about it. When we are faced with difficult questions, we have to ask, is it all due to ego? Or is it due to unwillingness to learn and grow? Remember when we came to Ilmi journey, in the beginning, wherever you would go, you would hear importance of knowledge, true ilm, hakiki ilm, and that's it. But today, those who have been coming regularly, they realize the importance of knowledge. But have we not become sidelined? Today, we want to pick up the books and study, and that's a good thing. But then, what kind of human beings are we? What kind of mother, husband, wife, brother, sister? Who are we in our relations? Because for a moment, there is no dichotomy between deen and dunya. A moment's sleep is also good deeds. Moment's business is also good deeds. So do you think moment's marriage is not a good deed? These are all very important questions which we need to reflect. Remember, there is no dichotomy between deen and dunya. Religion is to be lived. Killing of the carnal soul is the key to find real lasting happiness. Not just be fulfilled in our religious life, but to live life overall. So today, I would request that if you were to bring any question, reflection, I would like to very humbly request, be wise in using words, because it is not about shame and it is not about blame. In reality, my intention is to bring this out, this question, that if we think that we are going further in this knowledge classes and learning knowledge, are we pretending? Are we having self-righteous attitude? Or we are truly transforming? And these questions cannot be asked or answered by anybody but our own self, including me. And believe me, every day life teaches you. Do we run away from learning or do we go towards learning? And there are people, the way Farman said it, there are people who are ignorant. They are only focused on the worldly life. How do I make more money? How do I get name and fame? How the husband is suffering or the wife is suffering, or children are suffering, or siblings are suffering, or parents, elderly parents are suffering. There is no thought of that. So remember that each one of us have to take this Farman and apply on our lives. Why do we want to do that? Because this is Imam's Farman. And we want to become truly a Mu'min, truly a Mu'min. Kill the carnal soul, not just when we are in Jama'at Khana, not just when we are in Ilmi class, all the time, while working, in businesses, while in our home with our loved ones, when we sleep also. Remember Maulana Shah Karim's Farman that we have to always follow the ethics of Islam. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's Farmans are amazing because actually he goes into detail teaching us about the ethics. The way he said, this is not Ismaili Mazhab's way. This is not the way that we think like that. So these are some critical questions. We are not here to find solution because it is very individualized solution. But one thing I really want to say, one thing I really want to emphasize, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you are reflecting, if you are willing to learn and grow, you are on the right direction. And those who are not willing to learn and grow, we can pray for them that they would learn to grow. Otherwise, farmans are for everybody, for Ismaili Jamaat. But there are some who are willing to read and understand, to grow, to become better human beings, better in their relationships, better in Jamaat, in their community, in their Jamaat, better employee or better bosses, better co-worker. All these are important questions for us to live by the ethics of Islam, live the religion. So let me end here.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. Wonderful session. There are obviously, as you mentioned, there's a lot to think about, a lot to process, and there's a lot to reflect on our own. But if any friends who would have any questions or any comments, you can come forward.
Ya, limited Niamat bay.
Malali mata midamag.
ત્રણ ચાર દિવસ મને મળતું જ નહોતું તમારું. મોડી આવતી હતી પણ 10 તો પૂરું થવા થઈ ગયું હતું તું.
કાંઈ વાંધો નહીં માં તમે પૂગી ગયા શિખર મોલાનું.
આજ પૂજી ગઈ વળી.
શિખર મોલાનું.
શિખર મોલાનું. શરૂ કરો છો તમે?
હા થોડી વાર
કેવું કરું?
થોડોક ક્વેશ્ચન આન્સર થઈ જાય ને હજી થોડીક 10-15 મિનિટ આપો પછી શરૂ કરીએ છીએ આપણે. ઠીક છે?
વાંધો સહી છે.
So Hamida Ma is telling us that we need to be on time, 10 minutes. And truly, I don't expect any question. If anybody wants to share reflection, they can. Otherwise, it's okay to not give any words to our thoughts, but truly reflect and think, because the expectation is, the hope and pray is that we would reflect and think, not to talk about it as per se, because there is nothing much to talk about it. We really need to do soul searching individually to see where are we, what are we doing, what are we, how are we living the life? Is it truly that we are working hard to become Farman Bardar or not?
We have one comment here by Nermin Zaba. The phrase life is the sum of your experiences. We encounter and learn lessons from both positive and negative experiences.
Indeed, very true. Thank you, Nermin.
I think a thought came to my mind, like, your slide was pulse check. And I feel that, I think a different perspective of pulse check is needed in worldly life to balance or to track your emotions. We are taught to journal, our thoughts. And I think that's what Sultan Muhammad Shah Sabatullah is saying to us, that we need to pulse check as a journaling habit, that every day what we have done and how we have followed our religion or how we have used our religion. So I think maybe journaling would help to process these day-to-day things, and inshallah help us reflect a little bit more.
And being teaching, to Jamaat, I have over the period of years, brothers and sisters reaching out with different problems, including marriage and divorce and whatnot. And you would always find one of the member, they are willing to grow and learn, other is not, and that brings the challenge. But I do know that our Jamaat provides, through access, very good help. Anybody who's going through difficult time and they need help, please do know our institutions are there. And I personally know some friends who work with access, and they are really do great job. So please know that there is help out there if anybody needs it. Ji Zara?
Yeah, Alimadat, truly an amazing session. It went, you connected our lives with Maula's Farman, and you touched it so well that it did not, I'm sure it made everybody think, and everybody's in that reflection mode. So I really felt that this was needed what you said, and it's beautiful, like how and you say that two people in a relation, one would not agree the other, but you only need one person that's yourself at every moment. That if you fix and if you understand, and you work with Maula's Farman, that think, like you said, job pe hai, where you at work and your relations, if you think correctly and you go with this ethics, everything will come in its own place. So we don't need two of them to work. It's just one person also working will get that good results in end of the day. So yes, very beautiful session. I really loved it. Subhanallah, very nice.
Sure.
Shukran.
याली मदद आपा
Malali Madad.
आपने जो सेशन सुनाया मुझे बहुत मज़ा आया। इसमें फैमिली में होता रहता है, तू मैं होती, कोई एक बंदा अच्छा हो तो दूसरा नहीं होता है, मगर उसको संभालना और समझना हमारे हाथ में होता है कि हम किस तरह इसको मजबूती से पकड़ के रखते हैं और उसको संभालते हैं, और अपना हम जो भी करते हैं उसे हमें खुद को अपने आप को देखने का होता है कि हमारी क्या हम किस तरह बिहेव करते हैं सामने वाले के साथ। तो इसके लिए आपने जो समझा है मुझे बहुत मज़ा आया, और मैं अभी रात के 3 बजे तो शुक्र है मैं उठ गई थी 2 बजे, और मैं आपको इंतज़ार कर रही थी सेशन का। बहुत मज़ा आता है आपके सेशन में। थैंक यू वेरी मच आपा, और आप मौला आपको बहुत खुशियाँ दे, आपको दिन और दुनिया आबाद रहे आपकी। आमीन। जाली मदद।
Thank you.
I mean, there are a few friends have shared like Farmans and references. Yasmin Shamji Saiba says, Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah said, if 1/5 of the desires are fulfilled, you must count yourself very lucky. Moi Saib says, everybody makes mistake, never regret them, correct them. There is no such thing as a perfect world or perfect life. By Maulana Shah Karim alayhi salam. Maulana Shah Karim says, who does not have problems? You solve one problem, another one is waiting for you. Life is always a challenge, so we have to go through.
Subhanallah.
Alhamdulillah. And I remember there's a very, very beautiful video of Maulana Shah Karim al-Islam is, life is full of problems. It would be foolish to think that there are no problems. But I think the whole message, I think if we were to take it as, how are we following our spiritual journey? I think that was the whole message, which we need to take up with, because physical life, physical examples, all will stay here. How we are implying, how we are following our tariqah for our spiritual growth. I think that was the most important part, which Najis would take from the session. So, Alhamdulillah. Any last comments or reflection if friends would like to share? Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, friends will continue to reflect. Thank you so much, Niamat Saba, for a wonderful session. I think we all need to have a whole lot of reflection and inshallah to continue to do this pulse check exercise. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for sharing your time and knowledge with us. Thank you, friends. Inshallah, tomorrow will be the session with Al-Wais Riyaz Momin. We'll continue our book study. And thank you so much for joining. Ya Ali Madad, Ya Ali Madad.
Yali Madad, Yali
Ya
Madad.
Alhamdulillah, Masaba. Thank you.
Shukran. Yali Madad, Yali Madad.
Shukran, Mala.
Yani
Madad.
Madad.
Yali Madad.
Yali Madad.
Yani Madad. Thank you.
You.
Yali Madad, Papa. Yali Madad.